credentials and so on. For a freelancer, it's different from employees, translator working inside OXO. They don't have the same access to Plunet. Is it lighter access or?
For the translator, it's almost the same. There is a difference, but it's very small because the external translator are going to create their invoices to send us, and they don't need to log their hours. But the internal translators need to log their hours and doesn't need to send the invoice. So we have just little difference, but it's almost the same procedure, almost the same access.
The timesheet, you're talking about the timesheet for translators inside OXO, or
and we also need to have the approvers of the timesheet, so we need to prepare this kind of thing.
Okay. So to deliver their translations, freelancers and translator inside OXO, it's the same thing, and there's no not that much differences. That many differences. Okay. And you said you are also a developer. You like in your spare time or in your work, everyday work at OXO, are you able to develop something?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's right. No, that's correct. Great.
No, yes, I love to develop. I love to create programs and think about structures, and I really enjoy that part. And I usually do that on my spare time. I'm not doing anything, so hey, let me try to create something here for my own. And but every now and then we need some reports from Planet, need something, for example, we had to have a backup solution that was automatic because we couldn't get inside the tool. We keep exporting things day after day. So when the things appears, okay, this is my chance, and I start to develop something to be used internally in the company. So yeah, I quite do both things. I develop at the company and in my free time as well.
Automation and develop your developer skills and automation it's almost the same inside the company, I mean.
Yeah, they are mostly the same. Not sure if
really.
I can say mostly. Yeah, because when you think about automation, we are thinking about, hey, how can we do this to get this boring stuff and don't need to keep doing this again and again. And that might be solved with an external tool, something that we're going to buy, or something that, oh, in this tool, if you change it, instead of doing like this, we do like that, it's going to be automatic, and we won't need to do this extra step. So this is automation, but nothing this is developing. But of course, sometimes we don't have a tool that's already ready, or we need a tool that is very specific for that. We are not going to find it in the market, and it's better to just build it. Then I start developing.
Oh yes, you have to be to look at what tools are new tools on the market. That's part of your job too. Okay.
Yeah, no one asks me that directly. Like, oh, we need to you know, we were responsible for searching the new tools and know if once, because we cannot keep changing tools all the time. It's not good for everyone. No one's like that. So we don't do that. But every now and then we have, for example, if you have a necessity, then we might start looking for a tool. If something show up that looks very promising, okay, so let's stop everything. Let's take a closer look at that. Is that going to help us? Unfortunately, most of the time the tool is very promising, but it doesn't quite solve our issues, and we need to step back. But yeah, sometimes we find something interesting.
Oh, that's great. And there is a problem, sorry, nowadays for translators. We have to work in various CAT tools more and more. And moreover, not for freelance, yeah, maybe for freelancers too, but for employees, we have to work on the client platform. Some companies, even though your company has, for instance, memo queue, and you could do the job very well, the client wants that the translator works on its platform. Why that? Is that not more costly for the client? Then are there any reason for that change?
Yeah, this can happen by two different reasons. Or to be honest with you, the first one is when the client's more aware of the localization. Usually, this kind of client has their own term bases, their own internal revisors, and turns a localization team that's going to work on that. So they want to have total control about the translation. They just don't want to just send the files and receive it back translated. No, no, no. They want to get part of it. This is the localization for this company is very important. So they are aware of it and they want to have it. Yeah.
Even though it's more costly. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But for other companies, for example, I've thought that already. A company wants just to make a system for there to work internally, and they have the system, they need to be translated. So when they talk to the developers, when they hire a company to develop that software for them, they already say, hey, we will need this to be translated. So this platform, this tool needs to be ready to be translated. And usually when that happens, the developers already get a tool that works fine for the developers that also be able to translate things. So the tool they are buying are already made to work with a specific translation tool. Sometimes if it's free, they even install the tool over there and the client has the system and they have it. It was made to work with their system, so they just want to use it. They don't understand about localization, but the developer said, hey, use this, and hey, okay, so let's use that. We paid for that, so now we want to use it. So we
Okay.
also have those clients, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And there are clients who give their text, send their text to translate and to OXO and everything. OXO does the job from beginning to the end. Yes, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay. And the other problems I see personally is that when you go, you work on the client platforms, generally the CAT tools are older than, so, or they have CAT tools that are their own CAT tools that that don't exist outside the company. So it's like XTM, that's quite difficult, and it's with a lot of balise. I don't know how you say that in English, but it's very difficult for translators to work in that environment. So I feel like I'm 20 years back when I work with those my colleagues too, and so it's kind of difficult. So I think it's more difficult than before for translators because they have to adapt to those various tools from a project to another one. And our main job is to translate, not to adapt to CAT tools.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality nowadays.
Yeah, and the tools usually are not hard, but they are just different. The
Yeah,
basics
that's
are
it.
the same, but the buttons are everywhere. Like you want to do this, and you know it's like this, like, oh, I want to confirm a segment. It's usually Control Enter, but on that tool is not like that. So I need to keep finding how do I confirm. The concept of confirming segments usually exists everywhere. These basics, they are usually the same. But the place where they put these things and how they call it
Yeah, the name. Yes.
changes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so yeah, every now and then we say, how do I just confirm a segment? I don't know. They don't call it like this. The option's not here. The shortcut's not the same. So yeah, it's hard. I understand. It's usually easy, but you have this period of how it's the new
Automatism,
name.
yes, because
Yeah.
you lose your automatism, your everyday's automatism to start learning new ones and then go back to the old ones. And so it's that's because we lose time a lot doing that for translators, I mean. That's it.
Yes, exactly. The funny thing is every now and then we get some completely weird and different tool, and we find something that it's really nice. And we, oh, that would be nice to have that other tool that's way bigger and more expensive and new. And I passed it through this with a tool that was not a CAD tool actually. It was a management tool. And it was old and okay, and it doesn't even work anymore in the actual computers. But they had a small feature to see the location of the personnel that was like brilliant, and no other tool has that. I've already tried to talk to the people. Hey, you need to implement that. It's very good,
You
but
mean
it's
you can know where your colleague, for instance, we are three translators working on the same project with with that management tool. You can see where your colleagues are and when. That's what you see.
No, it gives you a different vision. For example, if you want to see, like, you have three projects. If I ask you to do these three projects first, before anything else, how much time you are going to have left at the end of the period?
Oh,
Or the
yeah.
other way around, if I ask you to put it this away and do this test that you have to do this today only at the end of the period to because I need something urgent, how much time are we going to have? And that tool was doing this calculation and show it graphically. So it was really nice.
Yes. But it must be different from a translator to another one because some translator are newbie and new translators, and other are have experience. So does that tool take into account the experience of the translator? To you don't know?
I don't
You
know. I don't know.
okay?
Yeah, I couldn't work in the tool. I just thought that like a small video and people were explaining to me
Okay,
how it
okay, okay,
works because they wanted that. And I couldn't
okay.
provide because it was really awesome, but I couldn't provide that.
Mhm. I think
But yeah,
so.
I don't know about the metrics. In Planet, for example, we have just metrics per user. So if you translate more than another translator, that's less experience and it's going to take more time, but that's okay. If you translate a different type of text, for example, you are translating a medical material and you really need to take care of it, you need to be really sure that's correct. And it's going to take more time, I understand that. So we can have these different metrics for
Okay.
each of the tasks, yeah.
Speaking of Plunet, there is an option, a little clock in the Plunet.
No, not the
No,
clock.
yes, but you don't use it. But
Mm.
why don't you? Because other elsewhere they use it, but I found it difficult because I found there are bugs and it doesn't give how does it work, that clock in Plunet? How is it supposed to work, that clock in
Yeah, the idea is really good, and I really like the idea. The idea of Planet is, okay, I'm going to open a job, I'm going to click on the play button, it starts counting. When I finish working on this job, I just click on the stop button, and it's going to include in my timesheet. So the idea is awesome. I'd love to have that really working. But, you need to have the job open. Sometimes you're not with it. Sometimes you get disconnected during the session, and when you log back, it just stop it counting the time, and you lose track. And as you're trusting Planet to do this counting, you don't know what time we will start it working that job, so everything is lost, and you need to take a lot of time trying to figure out how did I begin to work on that. I I was just trusting the tool and the tool just failed. So these are the things, and every now and then, Planet's an awesome tool. In the beginning, I didn't like it very much, but I learned to really enjoy using Planet. It's different. It's not intuitive. I know
Mm-hmm.
something
Mm-hmm.
buttons are hidden. You think it's going to do something and it does something else. Yes, I understand that. But I actually like Planet. It has a lot of interesting things that we can work with that. But every now and then it happens there's a bug here and there, and when you are relying 100% on the tool and that thing doesn't work,
Mm.
you you have nothing to do. You get lost there.
Yes.
So to avoid that, I don't say people cannot use this function. You
Mm-hmm.
can use if you want it. It's there. I cannot even disable it, but even if I could disable it, I would not do that. People can use it, but I do not recommend using it because of these bugs.
Okay.
So yeah, for this, I prefer to have my own tools because you know, localization word, everyone has to log their hours since always. So everyone
Mm.
has just their own ways of doing that control that we know it works because we are doing that for years already, and
Mm-hmm.
we can just keep doing that, and at the end of the day I open Planet and I just log my hours and everything's fine.
Okay. And you have a colleague, Isabel, who takes the timesheets and she check at the end of the month for every translator. So you work with a management to for the statistics, and I think it's easier that way. There are less. It's less prone to error. That's it. So
Yeah, it's even good for understanding the projects, how they are going, the clients, if something is changing, if you start getting using more time in your translations every day for just a specific client, something is out, you
mm,
know. So it's a good way to see to understand what's going on. So
mhm.
there's a big work from the Isabella part there that's beautiful to see, and that takes in consideration all of that for everyone, the company, for all the
Oh,
translators. Yeah.
that's great. So we think the same thing about the clock, the Punet clock. It's not worthwhile. Yes, because I
No,
use it.
no, I don't like it.
No, don't you don't recommend us to use it.
No, I
We
like the
can
idea, but
test it,
yeah,
but
yes,
can
we can
test.
test it. We can use it all together with another tool. So if the clock fails, you still have your
Oh
time,
my
at
God,
least for some time,
it's
until you see,
complicated.
okay, I it works for me. I can keep with just the clock. Yeah.
Okay, that's complicated. And that for the cat tools. And what about the security? You're responsible for the security with your colleagues, Eduardo, Fernando, and but you make the backups. You or all of the three of you, Eduardo, Fernando, and you.
Yeah, the security and backups are more responsibility of Fernando. But, you know, this is not something that we just leave on someone's hands and that's done. It's going to work. It doesn't work like that. Everyone need to be worried about security, and everyone needs to help on the backups because Fernando can do the backup, but and if he doesn't know what needs to be backed up, if he doesn't know the CAD tool, because in the cloud tool, it's not easy. It's not just to get the files and back them up. It doesn't work like that. For phrase, for example, they do their own backups. That's okay. But something I usually say is the backup I trust is the backup that I have in my hands because I checked it, I know it's working, I could see the files over there, I saw that the files are opening and everything's there. So besides Praise, for example, have their own backups. We also download a copy of the projects of the translation memories because if tomorrow, I don't know, they suffer an attack or the company just breaks and they stop existing, we are not going to lose everything. We have a copy of that.
Okay.
So this time, yeah, Fernando cannot help too much because he doesn't work with the CAD tools. So I developed a tool that would download this data automatically and upload to our service as a backup. And then from that part, because the files are going to be on this tool already for Fernando, and Fernando will take care of the backups. But I actually wrote this small program to do this automatic backup for us.
Okay. So Fernando is not, I'm not sure, Fernando doesn't take care of the CAT tools, but more backups and that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. But Eduardo and Eduardo works with CAT tools, okay, and you too. And okay,
Yeah,
that's
we
great.
talked with Eduardo. It was actually I wrote the tool, but Eduardo helped me a lot with what we need to backup, how much, because if you backup the project that is still on progress, it's not a good idea because the files are going to be changed and we are ended up with a version that's not the most actual one. But if you put it to back as well, we might lose something that it's important. So that is that fine grain that we need to discuss and to have some conclusions. And Eduardo is the best person to know that because he's working over there every day. He's logged in all the time, and he knows everything about everyone's account. It's impressive.
Oh, great. And Marcelo, Marcelo, I don't remember what does Marcelo do at OXO? Is
Marcelo
responsible? Yes.
is working with Fernando because
Okay, okay.
as the
They
company
work
is growing,
just like
yeah,
you work with Andrea. They
yeah,
are okay. That's it. Okay,
exactly.
they are your helpers.
Yeah, but they have become more than helpers because they are
Yes,
dominating everything and learning, and yeah,
that's great.
it's really nice.
So you are five people.
Yes,
Five. Okay,
we are
okay.
five today.
That's interesting. And what about hacking? Are you afraid of hacking at OXO, or we heard with AI that AI can uh, imitate the voice of your boss and send a false message and things like that. Do you think it's a real threat for OXO right now?
Not for OXO, it's a real threat, but I don't think it's for OXO at the moment because to have a convincing way to train the AI to have this voice and I hear it and I really believe today, I'm talking about today,
Yes, of
it
course.
it needs some material to train this AI. I cannot say, hey, just do like Sylvia's voice. It's not going to know how to do that unless I give the tool a lot of audios with your voice so it can get this information and start replicating it. But when the people inside the company is not very widely known and has hundreds of videos of them talking everywhere, it's hard for someone that is trying to attack to get this information and replicate that. It can happen, of course. There is always, I'm not saying that it's impossible, it's not. There is always a way of doing these things, but it's not that easy as it sounds at this moment. It's way easier, for example, to do that with politicians because politicians have the power and they are in the media every day. We see their faces, we know their voices, we know their facial expressions. So it's very easy to use all that training material and replicate that. But
Okay.
for these specific people are harder. But one thing that we had already were emails sent to specific people in the finance team saying, hey, uh, getting being sent as it was sent from Charles, say,
Mhm.
hey, could you please pay this? It's urgent. And if you're not aware of the things can happen if you are not paying attention. No, it's just the mail really coming from Charles. We may end up losing money on something like that.
Yes, Charles is your boss, the CEO of
Yeah.
OXO Innovation, and is not always available. So it's the kind of, so if you want to check, you have the mention urgent and you want to reach Charles and he's not available, which is quite often, uh, maybe that person knew that the was what was going on in the OXO. The,
Usually, if you take a little bit of precautions or look carefully in the mail, the only mail that you receive it will say to you that, oh, this is not real. Usually there is something weird somewhere, and it's not that hard to find if you know where to look. And for example, you are not expecting to pay anything and just receive an
Mhm,
email saying, hey, we need to pay this urgently. The story is weird.
mhm,
But the real dangerous thing here is when you are really expecting that. For
mm,
example, we just had a meeting with Chart and hey, oh, we need to buy this tool, we need to pay this thing, and this is urgent. And a few minutes later, you end up receiving an email like that. You're
mm.
probably going to just pay it.
Okay,
So
that's
that's where it tricks everyone, even the more experienced ones, because you were expecting for
urgent.
email, the email just arrived, you do it.
Because you have often just take by taking a look at the email address, you see it's a weird email address, so you see that's the hacker. But in the situation you're describing, you won't even think to look at the email address because of the situation. Yes, that's a problem.
Yeah, you have a bill to pay. You receive a mail from the bank say, hey, this bill is available. Please pay it. It's due today.
Mhm. Mm.
Yeah, you know that you will receive that and you just receive it. Why it would not be the original, you know? So it's where the real danger lives.
And another thing is the passwords. We translators tend to use easy passwords for hackers. And do you have any pieces of advice to give us?
Well, just the basic ones, everything that everyone says that use longer passwords with characters, different characters, numbers, all of that are going to increase the entropy of the password, and it's going to be harder to be broken down by brute force or even by guessing. It's harder to guess something that's longer than guess something that like 4 characters. And the main one is never ever use the same password for more than one service, because if you do that, for example, I want to hack you, I find out your password of MemoQ, I don't know, from main source. Of course, I'm going to try your email address with that password for a lot of other services. If you use the same password, I'm going to get in again and again and again. If it were the same of your email address and you don't have a multiple factor authentication or something like that, and I get in your email address, I'll basically have everything because I go in
Mm,
the tool and I say, hey, I forgot my password. Here's my email address. It's going to send you an email. The attacker goes there, open the email address, change your password, and gets in as well. So
mm,
especially the email address is something that we need to really be careful.
mm,
Always the most as possible have two-factor authentication in a different device, because if it's two-factor authentication, but the password and the two-factor is in your phone, for example, and
mhm,
someone gets your phone, they're going to have everything. So it's
mhm.
not exactly two-factor.
Yes. Yes, most here in Canada, I don't know in Brazil, but here in Canada, we use two factors authentication. We have been using that for 1 or 2 years now. It's a common way of working. So that's not. that much of a problem, and we can have use authentication on various email address. Most of people have 3, 4, 5 email addresses nowadays, so you can use various email addresses.
Yeah,
So
just an
that's
interesting way.
okay.
The only thing that I don't really recommend, it's I don't say don't do it, but if you could use app for the second authentication,
Yes, yes.
it's better than use, for example, SMS.
Oh,
Because for SMS, you just need the phone numbers of the person.
oh
And there's
yeah,
multiple ways of
yeah.
getting access to someone else's phone number. So it's not the most secure way. Using the app's more secure than the phone number.
So there is an app. Is it a password manager you're talking about? No, that kind of
Yeah,
app?
yes, there are the password managers to save your passwords. I really like them. I always use it then. The only downside of it is because they are a golden pot. You know, you get all your treasures and you put
Mm,
inside a place, a box. And okay, it's hard to get what is inside that, but it's the place that everyone's looking for. Everyone want to get it. So use it, but be careful with that. It's secure, but at the same
mhm.
time, it's the golden pot that everyone wants. So yeah.
Okay,
And
that's
I was talking about this two-factor authentication applications like Google Authentication, Authy. There's a lot of other ones. I personally use a free and open source version of that. That's really nice. That plenty of versions. They usually work for all the service. It's not a problem.
oh great. Okay. So we use it on our phones, on our computers too. And okay, oh, that's great. And the last point I wanted to talk with you, it's about Chat GPT. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's an interesting tool. It's an interesting question. Some people love it, some people hate it, some hate it, some people are really afraid of it. Uh, I don't have too much opinion about it yet because for now it really helps for a few things, don't help for other things. There are people using this kind of technology in a way that I don't like personally. I'm an automation engineer. I like to automate stuff,
Hmm.
but for me, it's different when I get the job that you need to do. You need to translate, so I'm going to try to do everything to make your work easier and
Hmm.
better. But people usually doing another side that I don't quite like it. Yeah, that is, I'm going to get just two, and just two are going to do your work, and you're just going to QA the two.
Hmm.
So yeah, instead of doing the nice thing that you studied and you want to translate things, you don't do that anymore. You just QA and you're just reading 500 words to, hey, there's a missing comma here. And
Well, I
yeah.
would I would say something because most of the work of translator is to uh, when you have a text in English, you translate from English into French, for instance. You tend to both languages are quite similar. Okay, they are, and there are a lot of words you don't use in French because you think you see English words and you forget that in French there are many other words, and that is François Lavallée, which is one of our translators and trainers, well known by the translators, said that he called that le paradis du français, French paradise. All those words that are not that we don't think automatically when we translate from English into French. And that's part of our job, to use those words that we cannot find in a dictionary. They evolve, they develop, they change with the years and so on. That's why, and it's the same thing from Portuguese to English, or Portuguese into French. So I'm not that much afraid. The problems I see with what you you said is that a lot of the easier work in translation can be automated. Yes, that's it. And we have only the difficult work to do as translators. That's what we see, as we have just talked about CAT tools, a lot of CAT tools. 20 years ago, I would have said to you, in 20 years, there will be only one CAT tool, the best of them. And now that's exactly the contrary. There are more than ever CAT tools. So it's more complicated for translators. So, and all those texts 20 years ago that were, we could rest a little bit our brain when we were translating those texts because they were easy. Nowadays, they are translated by automated translation, maybe by ChatGPTs quite well. And we have the hard job to do. That's what I see personally, but I don't know, in 5 or 10 years from now, it would be a different situation, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure if ChatGPT will replace the automatic translations we already have, because ChatGPT works well, it translates well. I'm not saying the other thing about it, but it was not made to work with CAT tools, doesn't get the tags, it doesn't, okay, most of the AI tools doesn't get tags as well, but it's not made for that. And the quality in a first glance, it appears to be awesome, but then we start using it more and say, hey, not that good as I thought. And instead of having it and have all this work,
we should do over the translation.
yeah,
That's what Na told us when she 2 weeks ago, that there were translation companies or clients wanted to have their ChatGPT translation revised, and that was a kind of a mess.
it's hard,
And other it
yeah.
was wonderful. So it depends.
Yeah.
And about the translation memories, there in the translation memories and the terminology, there's all inside. There is all the terminology, the way the client want us to say that idea, not that way, but that way. ChatGPT is unable to find that. So if we have to do it, it's better to use translation memories.
Yeah, and it's easier, and people are already used to it. And let's face it, the other tools, the other translation tools are as good as the ChatGPT. So why change? I mean, okay, ChatGPT is getting better, but the other tools are also getting better. So yeah,
Yes.
and to choose, I'm going to choose the easier for us and not the one that make our lives worse.
And there is the security problems with ChatGPT. If you send, unless you have a paid version, you can have confidentiality. It's security.
Yeah, I never faced that or saw something like official about it, but I heard people saying that, hey, I saw this and oh, there was this confidential information that it appeared to me. I can't prove or make sure it really happened, but at the same time, it's hard for the people that were working in ChatGPT to make sure that this is not going to happen never. So yeah, it might happen. I believe that It's something that we need to
20
deal with.
years ago, I would say the worst threat was the garbage, because people use without thinking, taking secret documents and put them right away in the garbage. And nowadays it's ChatGPT. It's another problem. And that's it. It's different. And I have another question about when I went to last time I went to Brazil, and I went to Brazil twice, and working there. And I was told that there certainly is here in Canada, but I was told when I went to Brazil that there are sniffers when you work in restaurants, in a cafe, people trying to is that so easy for somebody with a sniffers when you're working for instance, for OXO on your computer, sipping a good cup of coffee, that somebody beside you kind of see what you're doing, or
Yeah, I cannot precise how much of this happens. If it's very common, if not so common, it's really rare to happen, but it can happen. Today,
okay.
everything is encrypted, so we are way better than we were like 5, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, everything that went via the internet was open. So everyone that could intercept that packages could read what we are saying,
Oh,
which
why?
websites we were access. They could see everything.
Hmm.
Nowadays, everything is encrypted end to end. So it's encrypted on your computer. The packet goes encrypted up to the server where you are dealing with, and then decrypted there. That is encrypted again and sent to your computer.
Okay.
But there is an attack. I'm not, security is not my specialty at the moment. I like the subject, but I don't study it, so I might be saying something a little bit off. But there's something that happens that it's called the man in the middle attack. That is basically a computer that stays in the middle, and when you try to get access to your server, your bank, your email, I don't know,
Hmm.
anything, your computer are going to encrypt this package and send to this computer. This computer of the attacker are going to open it, see what's going on, encrypted that again, and send to the server. When the server gets back the answer, it's going to get back to the answer to the attacker's computer, that's going to get the information, and they are going to send to your computer. So at your side, you don't know what's going on,
And on the server
but
side, neither do the
neither, but the attacker is intercepting and checking everything.
okay.
Uh, as far as I know, again, I'm not a specialist in this area, but this is it's possible when you are in someone's network that was made for that. So
Okay.
yeah, be careful. It's a good idea to be careful of open networks. If it's not the network's not from someone you know and you trust, maybe it's a better idea to use a VPN that is trustable, because if you use just any VPN, you're going to have the same problem again. So you need to trust the service or the network to connect there. If you don't trust anything and you don't want to get a VPN, not a problem. Do you trust your internet connection with your operator via your cell phone? Okay, use it. Use your phone to connect the internet, and you're going to be
Okay.
free from this kind of attack. It's going to be
So
safer.
people working in various countries in the world, they have each country to ask, is that an internet supplier worthwhile, or can I trust it? Okay, that
Yeah, if you're
we
traveling
have
too
to ask.
much,
Yes.
yeah. If you travel too much, it's maybe it's a better idea to check for a VPN. The VPN is just going to make a tunnel. So it's going to
Ah,
connect your
okay.
computer directly to the VPN independently of the internet connection you're using. So that's
Okay.
why it's safer, because you're using a method network, but the VPN is over there. So you get inside the tunnel and you go outside on the VPN server. And from there, you talk to the other server, your bank, your email account, and everything. So It's going to bypass. It's going to go through this
Okay. So
buggy network.
you would advise freelancers working in various countries to have a VPN. That's
Yeah,
the
it's a good
best.
idea.
Okay. Is it costly, a VPN? Does it cost? You don't know?
Yeah, it depends. I've already used one that was very cheap. There are another
Okay.
ones that are very expensive, so
So you
your
have
mileage
to.
may vary. Yeah, the important thing is use something that you really trust.
Okay. Okay. So password manager, long passwords, uh, complicated passwords, and a good VPN. That's great because most people work from home and from nowadays and so we have to have a good equipment. That's very important. So I think we made it. Um, so I thank you very much. Have you anything else to tell us? Or could you tell us about just about the cloud? You told me that there was that big problems with Google Photos that were lost in.
Yes, I was reading about that recently, because we use our Android phones for the people that use Android, and we have a service because the storage in the phone it's not that big. It's bigger nowadays. It was not so big a few years ago, but still it's not that giant. So if you take a lot of pictures and make a lot of videos, this memory of it's quickly get full. So Google thought, why can't I just upload these photos and videos to my server
Mhm.
and keep the phone of the person free? It's also good because if the phone was lost, it get broken, you're still going to have your pictures. And that's nice. But to make the space free on the device and your phone, it needs to delete the pictures. So what this service usually do is upload everything and keep in your phone just a thumbnail, just an image that's like this size, you can barely see it. And when you click on that photo to see, then it downloads the bigger photo and you can see that.
Okay.
It's how it usually do. But and you have just limited space in Google as well. When it's full, they usually offer you, hey, do you want to buy more space? I can
Mhm.
sell it. It's not that cheap. It's not that expensive. It's cheap. You can have way more space. Just save your stuff. And but I read recently that a group of people that was not that small, one of the servers at the Google's cloud crashed and they didn't have the backup. So the
Oh,
people just got lost their pictures and videos and they were paying for the service. I
yes.
mean, yeah, I read about that. I didn't quite go ahead to understand really what really happened there, but this is a nice reminder that it's okay to use those services, but it's also a good idea to have our own backups. So
Just like you do in OXO.
yes,
Same thing.
trust the backup you have at your hands. It's the better. Have another ones. It's great. They are practical, easier, cheap. Okay, use them, but also use your own. It's always better.
Fourth piece of advice, backup. Always
Backup,
have
backup.
backups.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much, Bruno,
Thank
for
you. Thank you for
being with
having me.
us. And I will put the recording on my YouTube chain. So today or tomorrow. I send
Okay.
you a small a message by WhatsApp because we have to communicate. When I contact you, it's on WhatsApp. Here in Canada, we use not that much WhatsApp between us, but with Brazil, always with WhatsApp. WhatsApp.
Yeah, here everyone use WhatsApp. I don't even like that much WhatsApp, but I need to have it
You need
because
a.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.